Hey, folks, have you ever felt like you were in a place or you were in a career or a spot in your life when it just didn't feel like you? You were going through the motions, maybe you were a little angry, maybe you were living in a way that you didn't want to live, and you wanted to change, but you felt like you were stuck. You felt like you were stuck in a job, you were stuck in a place, you were stuck in a behavior. I don't know, something. And you felt like you couldn't change. I just got out of Moana in the theater, and I said in my little short, my opening short, or my leaving the theater reaction, that Moana, unlike any other Disney movie for me, teaches the story, or teaches the lesson, that you can always change. That who you are at one point in your life can change. You can become someone different. You can change your path. It's never too late to change your path. And some of us might need a little help to do that, but that's okay. Even if the help is in the beginning of the movie a little bit unwilling. So this is Moana. So welcome to another one of my Millrod's Brews and Reviews. Today, for the brew, we have Jackie O's Sing to the Sun Hazy IPA. So that's the brew for today. And I'm excited to talk about Moana. Early critic reviews of this movie have been, we'll say, rough. I think it had a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes on the critic side when I walked into the theater today. And so that was in my head. It's hard not to be. When you see early critic reviews, it's hard for that negativity not to seep into you. And when this movie started, I kind of was seeing why. The first act of this movie, I think, is probably the worst part of it. I thought that kind of the way that they introduce the story here is a little bit, how do I want to say it? A little bit kind of annoying or sloppy, particularly the grandma. So I guess we're going to start, for whatever reason, this review with a little bit of negative. The actress that plays the grandma, I'm sure she's a great actress, but every time she was on the screen for me, the movie got worse. It felt awkward. The cuts were very quick. Her and Moana didn't feel like when they were acting with each other that it was very smooth. And so every time the grandma showed up on screen, I didn't feel like the movie was at its best. I just thought her acting was a little cheesy, and maybe that's the right word for it, cheesy, and awkward. And she makes most of her appearances in the first act of this movie, as you know, because, I don't think I'm spoiling things with Moana, but as you know, right, Moana's growing up, she wants to kind of go out in the ocean, and her dad's the chief, and he doesn't want her to, and the grandma kind of pushes her out into this journey, right? But the grandma's very awkward and very cheesy, and it worked better probably in the animation than in the full live movie. So that's, for me, the first act of the movie was a little bit odd and cheesy because of that. I also really didn't like the first song as well that was in the movie that all of the villagers sang. It was fine. But that first act, I kind of thought, okay, maybe this is a 33 rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But then you get into the second act. And I think once she leaves the island and you get about 30 minutes into this movie, and then it starts to become fun and interesting. And it's when it starts to tell its best story and it starts to give its best lessons. So the second act, of course, she meets Maui, who's played by The Rock. And you can say The Rock is cheesy in this. I mean, I think I knew it was going to be a cheesy performance. I think he's better in the third act than he is in the second act. But, him and Moana have this kind of funny interaction from the get-go, and it continues on through the rest of the movie. I think one of the strongest pieces of this movie is the relationship that grows between Maui and Moana. And I think that seeing it in live action enhances that relationship. Because when you're when you're watching an animated movie, sometimes it's harder to connect with the characters because they're animated. But when you see two human beings going through something together, to me, that makes it feel more real. That makes it feel more real. Let's take another drink of this Sing to the Sun. And so, while it started very cheesy, I will say that, as you move through the second act into the third act of this movie, the relationship between Moana and Maui, played by The Rock, becomes much stronger. And it gets to be real, and the feelings are real. And I thought the acting was well done. Okay, I really thought the acting was well done. So that part of the movie was great. Second act, I really liked the crab. Again, I don't think I'm spoiling anything with Moana because the movie's been out forever. But the crab was great. I loved the song in the crab scene. I thought that was one of the best songs in the movie. You know, I mean, other than maybe the big songs everybody knows, "You're Welcome" from Maui, and then the first kind of the first song sung by Moana about wanting to go out in the ocean calling her. Other than those two songs, I thought this crab song was really funny. I thought the accent mixed with the song was just perfect the way that the crab song worked. Really liked the crab scene. And then they get into the third act, and you get this amazing resolution with the big fire monster and Te Fiti. You know, and again, I don't think I'm spoiling anything with the movie being out for so long, but you know, you'll see. Maybe that's one thing I won't say here, but you'll see that transformation, and it's really beautiful at the end, and it really kicks in the lesson of the movie, as I said earlier, which is that you're not stuck where you are. Moana realizes that. The grandma, however cheesy and kind of rough at times she was to watch, the grandma helps push her towards what she feels like her destiny is. You know, she struggles, but she keeps moving forward. The movie also has a way of teaching you how to convince others that what you're doing is the right thing. You know, for kids to see Moana trying to convince Maui, The Rock, that he should go on this journey with her. I mean, it's a wonderful kind of punching above your weight type of situation with Moana and Maui, which was, again, I think enhanced by the fact that it was a live-action film and not the animated version of the film. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think, you know, at the end of the day, you just can't be afraid to go for it. You can't be afraid to go for it, and you can't be afraid to change who you are now, if you don't like that state of life, into a state of life that you want to go to. So yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I thought I was going to go in and not like this movie, but I really did like it. Now, I have to cover something that I think is a little bit of a negative, and that is that, you know, Moana, the movie is available to watch, right? The animated version, I think, is on Disney Plus. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, to make these live-action movies with how expensive movie tickets are, it's hard for me to tell you that you really need to go see this because the original is on streaming, right? And I know times are tough, and I know that it's expensive to see a movie. So that is one negative to this, is it is kind of a retelling of the original story. And if you already have the original story for your kids, you know, paying whatever it would be, $15 a ticket times 4 tickets, whatever you do the math, plus your popcorn and your everything, with the way prices are, it's hard for me to tell you, like, yes, you need to go see this movie. But getting back to the story of the movie and the way it works, again, it's Moana. The music is awesome. I thought the performances from Moana and Maui were both very well done. The crab song was really good. I thought the music in general, like the score, was great. And again, you're not going to see a better story that focuses on resilience and taking yourself to the place in life that you feel like you need to be, despite what other people might think, despite people telling you shouldn't. You don't have to stay the way you are. You can change to a better version of yourself, and that's what Moana teaches. And it's great that it's a kids' movie, that the kids can see that lesson up on the screen as well. So let's talk about scores. As you know, for me, my scoring system goes 5 is see it again right now. It was amazing. 4 is good movie, want to see it later. 3 is the movie is decent, average. 2 is not my cup of tea. 1 is a bad movie. And 0 is what are we even making here? And so if I'm thinking about this movie, again, I think I'm going to be higher than most of the critics on this. man, as I sat there, this movie it just got better for me as it went on. And I just felt just this strong lesson at the end and what it was trying to do. And it was just emotional. And so you can't beat that when you walk out of a movie and you're thinking about this, kind of what you were feeling in that movie. I think it's just a wonderful feeling. So, because of that, and again, maybe a little bit surprising, but I'm going to give Moana a 4 out of 5 good. I do think it's a good movie to see. If you have the funds and you want to go out and see it in live action, I don't think you or your kids will be disappointed with this movie. A little bit rough first act. Get through that first half hour, and the rest of the movie I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy. This is Millrod again with one of my brews and reviews. Jackie O's Singing to the Sun is the choice. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend, and have fun if you go see Moana in theaters.